Hey guys, welcome to Baschamania. This podcast brought to you by our friends at Attack. Attack is a training app for competitive athletes so that you level up with AI. Attack offers custom-built programs for you to reach your goals and guided workouts to execute the plan. Attack features all sorts of cool functionality from their leaderboard and various ways to compete with your friends and foes to awesome technique and training advice from some of the best athletes out there. Jordan Burroughs, Sarah Hildebrandt, Reese Humphrey, a bunch others. This app is just loaded with golden nuggets to increase your training and athleticism. Go download the Attack app, ATAC.app on social, ATAC in the App Store. It's an amazing app. You don't want to turn out to be like Felters, so go download the app and start training. We are joined today by Mr. Felters of the Willie Flow trial fame. I feel like that was like your coming out party because you tried staying behind the scenes for so long, and then you got dragged into the public because of your text messages.
I never even heard it. I saw the back and forth and kind of the Felters thing kind of stuck. It was kind of like on the same time that I think Zach's channels took off, and then Happy Hours kind of ramped up at the same time. But thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be joined by such a big Penn State fan and supporter.
Well, you're like the perfect guy for this show because I'm obviously very Penn State biased and you're extremely Iowa biased. But
no, that's what you think. That's what you think.
No, and I'll tell you why I think where bias hurts and harms wrestling or helps. Wrestling community very much so is not only biased, but we're biased because we know things. And everybody has a tin hat on when they think they know something. Like I was talking to Nick Lee a couple weeks ago. He was saying he's not wrestling because he couldn't get cleared from COVID protocols. All the duck tweets start. And is Nick Lee ducking this and that? And when you know what's happening, that's obviously not only a bias, but you're privy to the information. And there is a real thing right now in this sport where you have people ducking left and right. We also assume so many things in this sport.
Well, I think there's a couple of components to that. I think as fans, we want to see what we want to see. So we're selfish, but from a standpoint of being entertained, right? That Rivera and Nick Lee match would obviously been a great match to watch for wrestling, but it also allows you to market events in a bigger way, right? Remember, was it 4 years ago when Spencer didn't wrestle Rivera at Northwestern, how big a deal that was at the time and how many assumptions were made that, across the board. At the end of the day, if they wrestle in the duel, they don't wrestle in some of these meets. If they're not ready at the end of the year, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of components goes into it. I think,
do you think when coaches rest somebody, do you consider that ducking?
Well, just depends, right? Like here's the other side of that component is that with this seeding out to 32 or 33, there's no guesses where you're going to fall in the bracket. Okay, I've commented an opponent. And so when the calculation comes out, you can compute pretty closely to where, okay, if I've commented opponent win or this guy, how much am I putting at risk if I would lose?
Yeah. And
that's impacting a lot of I think the decisions are not decisions to wrestle, but at the end of the day, the hard thing to stomach, it's like this with everything is that when COVID was going on, everybody wanted to wrestle, just let us wrestle, work really hard to get back there. And then when there's clearance to get back, then it's like, now that we have the choice and it's kind of, it's not taken away from us. Now we're just going to be selective when we go or not. And that's kind of disheartening thing. And as the one and only Shane Sparks said this before, is as hard as these guys train and put in, to not go out there and compete, man.
I agree. I know I fall victim to it. And some of it, I think you do the same thing I do. At times, even if you don't think someone's ducking, it's still fun to razz somebody. I don't know if Micic ducked this weekend, but I put some tweets out there having fun with it. But
yeah, but then you're the same guy when someone says about Nick Lee and have fun with it, then you get sensitive about it.
To a degree, yeah. I think that's what sports is, though. You get you're more.
Oh, there's only one person I went after the Ducks, and that was
Glory.
Well, and the reason that it was is a couple of components. It was he was pretty vocal on social media last year when the Ivy League didn't get a wrestle and how he would do this and this and this when he gets back. Listen, he's a phenomenal competitor, phenomenal wrestler. There's no doubt about that. And then it came like, okay, he didn't make weight at Iowa. He didn't make weight. I mean, and the interesting thing for me was it's kind of like eye-opening, and get to the Kale thing.
Now, do you know he didn't make weight, or is that like rumor?
100%. And then when the coach comes out and says, well, we're only getting ready for one way, like you didn't just set it on a tee for me. You like put the watermelon like on and gave me the bat, right? And I do think it's a tough cut for him. And I think you saw that maybe in Vegas on the second day of the first match. But so when he came back and he didn't wrestle Camacho, and it looked like maybe Dubuque, Coach Harrison and Glory, 3 out of 30 had COVID that weekend. I mean, I jumped on it. It was like, okay, you want to be the guy or not? Because for me right now, Glory's a clear number one. And he comes back, beat up on Courtney. And people say, well, it wasn't a weight. Courtney was the national, returning national runner-up, period.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't close.
Yeah, I agree.
I know you're a Vito fan too. And I know they wrestled before, but when's the last time we see Vito wrestle? I think he wrestled maybe 1 or 2 matches at the duels.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm curious your thoughts, because I tweeted this out last week and I stand by it. I do wish there's more transparency, even for Penn State. I tell them all that. Like, do you think it hurts or would help if coaches come out and say right out of the gate, hey, Roman's not wrestling today or this weekend or whatever?
No, but I think they don't owe that. I mean, that's selfishly as a fan, and
no, I agree that
we want that for us. But right now, like at the end of the day, and you got to also look at all the components of. It's not the thing anymore. If kids get pissed off or parents get pissed off or whatever, that they can pick up and they're gone tomorrow. We've seen that happen. Look at Nikki transfer portal. But they got to put their athletes in the end of the season is what you're judged on. So whatever's going on in their camp, whatever they think's best, everybody may not agree with it on the outside. They can speculate and everything else. But, if you're at the right, everybody's making the right decision for athletes. You got to respect what they're doing.
I agree. And I'm curious as a fan, because even like when I know something and I don't put it out, it's out of respect strictly to the athletes and coaches. But it obviously does make for better fanfare when you know who's wrestling. And you see it with the NFL. It's a completely different world, but you see when someone says, here's our injury report. I don't know with wrestling if it's because maybe they don't want somebody game planning for one guy or the other. Or like, I know so many of these coaches, we kind of talked about it leading up to Drake's red shirt being pulled. Like you're saying, well, they don't know anybody anything. Like, but from a fan standpoint, you obviously always want to know. And from a media marketing standpoint, you definitely want to know who's going to be competing so you can hype the matches, preview them. If we sit here and preview 3 matches that aren't going to happen, nobody wins. And so I don't think coaches or athletes owe us anything, but I do think it's for the better if we know that stuff.
Well, you can't depend on other people I agree with that. For the promotion of the sport, you can't count on outside media sources of people to drive things unless you have transparency and get behind it. Right. But outside of that, the wrestling world thinks they're entitled to everything. You know that.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna have a different take. I mean, it's the epitome of, like I've said this numerous times. It's the epitome of you put whatever situation or circumstances to whatever outcome you want personally, right?
Yep.
I mean, that being a Bills fan and all, like probably need to change the overtime rules now. Like I'm so sick of hearing, like everybody knew the overtime. Listen, I'm just gonna say this. Everybody knew the overtime rules going into the game, right? And then when it doesn't go your way, not you personally, just everybody else. Everybody bitches. Oh, we need to change the overtime rules. No, you knew what the rules were.
But
you knew the rules. Just like if you're wrestling,
but you do
tiebreaker. Whoever scored first gets choice, right?
You do need to evolve the rules. I think obviously it's easier to say this as a Bills fan, and we lost. I do think even if the Bills fans, if the Bills won, I do think Bills fans would obviously not talk about it. But I think it's only fair that you give each team a shot at the ball. Greg Olson said today that 10 out of the last 11 teams in the NFL in the playoffs who won the coin toss won the game. That's a lot of luck coming down to a coin toss. So I do think both teams need to touch the ball.
And then you get the whole thing about how many games they play and how long does that go, and players union, all the other bullshit.
And just in the playoffs, I think you do a fifth quarter.
Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know.
What did you? Cenzo's trying to get in.
Cenzo's trying to get in here. I mean,
yeah, it's kicking him out.
I mean, probably YouTube probably knows he's probably flagged.
What did you think before we talk Penn State, Iowa? What did you think of Penn State, Michigan?
I mean,
because I saw you, I loved so much for the Michigan national championship era.
No, that was pretty harsh, right? But it's like, well, and look at Intermatch rankings. Like somehow they passed. They're number 2 in Intermatch rank. Like, so that's all projections, and I get all that. Like, ending. I thought a couple things. I thought, and I've said this before. Talked to Jim Gibbons, and he made a comment that they really. People forget how hard folk style wrestling is. And when I say people forget, guys that maybe were in folk style moved to international, then they've came back, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much majority of Michigan's lineup.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you saw that in a couple of matches, like Brooks riding Mean and Mean having to get off the bottom. Like it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought there's some really gritty wins. I think maybe the Kevin Jackson effect's already in place in Michigan. I mean, like
expound.
No, I mean, it's circumstantial. I mean, there's 3 or 4 matches could have went either way. I thought Penn State performed. It was a big moment for them. I don't know if it showed us how great Penn State is, or maybe everybody got a little bit too hyped for Michigan.
Yeah, I really think obviously
mid-seasons, it's always hard to tell this, right? Like it's like, if it goes your way, it's just a duel. We'll see at the end of the year. And if you kick the other team's ass, it's, you're the dominant. So again, it goes back to circumstance. It's the same thing we're going to do on Friday night, right? If Iowa loses, and let's say Drake loses, and that's the duel, well, we would have won if he had Spencer, right? I mean,
but see, I also don't care. I hate, from an individual standpoint, if you want to tell somebody, which I've never liked it, when Gilman was on here, we laughed about, the see you at nationals thing. If Penn State loses, my mentality is not going to be, can't wait for March. I'm going to be bummed that we lost a duel. I think the sport has made them separate. They're not one and the same. You should want to win the duel, and you should want to win in March. I don't like the mentality of like, okay, we won this, but the fact that we even have different rankings is wild.
I can tell you this, both those programs, I just saw Flo's preview or build up for the Oklahoma State, 4 or 5 programs, every date's important to them to win. And, they're not, we're just going to, sandbag the duel if we lose a duel. It is a big deal. And the going back to the promotion thing, I think the Big Ten Network has done an absolutely unbelievable job.
Yeah.
Promoting the sport. Great job. And that's a big driver. I seen an interview with John Smith recently, and they asked him, when's Oklahoma State going to get back on top? And he goes, listen, people forgot 10 years ago that our conference got broke up. And, we got to strengthen our conference. We're losing recruits. And I didn't really reflect on that, but Big Ten is pretty lucrative for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, and I'm a homer saying this, but like Friday night at Carver, you're not going to experience that anywhere else in the world from wrestling, probably. And definitely not NCAA.
No, there's definitely a unique aspect to it. And I think there's a lot of different aspects. So that's what people,
that drives brand. I mean, that's great for both programs, right?
Well, you saw Gable even. Like Gable came out and said, like, I've always wanted to wrestle in Carver. Thank you, Carver. Like, he showed Carver the respect, and he got the respect. Like, he's obviously earned the fans' respect big time. But
speaking of Carver, did you see Kale's tweets back that guy last night? Huh?
Legendary.
Dude, it was unbelievable. Like, should I bring 2 left shoes? Kind of funny.
No, the guy said, you can't take me down. You have 2 left feet.
It's funny sometimes the stuff that you know the guys are reading.
Yeah.
Listen, don't think Kale Sanderson doesn't want to go in there just stomp on every Hawk, like ultimate competitor, like,
yeah,
but they live for it.
yeah. And they're when you're a coach, you're as competitive as an athlete. You're just not on the mat.
Oh, I think
All right.
it's
So let's talk Penn State, Iowa, because that's the big duel Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Let's do a coin flip. But wait, we're going to start talking about though, because it's always 25. And then let's start like where you want to start.
You want to start in the middle?
Yeah. So first off, let me set the record straight. While I am wholeheartedly Hawkeye supporter, and maybe Homer in some instances, but as a wrestling, fan,
Savant?
lover, whatever is what Cale Sanderson and Penn State's done, not just from the winning standpoint, right? What that program has done to evolve the total body of work for wrestling. I mean, Tom Branson said this, he's forced me to change and look at things differently. I mean, you're looking at facilities that probably would have never got away. You're looking at RTCs, looking at funding. He's moved the needle in a way, and he's been an innovator. And I think if you want to be a guy with blinders on and not open your eyes and make excuses why, Penn State's winning because they're cheating or doing this. No, they're innovative. They're thinking, they thought outside the box. And listen, they push the sport forward a lot in total. So you can't not respect what they've done at Penn State, not just from a performance standpoint, right? From I'd say from infrastructure, from a business standpoint, or evolving a sport. I mean, tip of the cap to them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I agree.
You know what I mean, though? I mean, it's like it's easy to play the thing. Oh, they're doing this. No, you're just it's typical. Like, you tell somebody a way they could do stuff, and they always want to tell you the reasons they can't happen versus, making stuff happen.
Do you think part of I think there's a number of people like you who have a great business sense who give guys like Cale a lot of respect. Do you think there's a lot of wrestling media that doesn't, because of the fact that he gives them nothing? Like, he doesn't owe them. I agree. But I'm saying, I feel like some of the media is salty because they don't get more access. So they won't make the statement you just made because it's almost like there's too much ego involved.
Yeah, but if you step back and you look at the sport, right? You think, Iowa building a new facility, I don't think it was probably much of a conversation point till recruits started having an impact or feedback that facilities was important to them, right?
Yep.
RTCs, does it go that way? I mean, is the amount of fundraising done? Now, that doesn't mean it's going to go across the board. People are like, well, we can't afford to do that. Well, that's, again, I think there's like 4 to 5 programs every year that are competing for the national team title.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, there's how many guys left the sport because they're making $14,000 a year versus now, Penn State paying insurance. I try to get the last 990, but it's only not 2019. It's good. I mean, that's good for the total sport.
Yeah.
And as a competitor of people want to get better, you should appreciate it, not and embrace it and better look to change. Or, you're going to keep watching Bo, jump in Cale's arms and, all that other shit that happens.
Did you, I liked your response to my favorite moment of Bo spladling Sammy Brooks. That is one of my all-time favorite.
No, you said my favorite Carver moment. I said, well, told him how many times you've been to Carver? 0.
Yeah. I do want to.
So you're just one of those guys that's like virtual. You and Pat Minio never come, but always have all the scoop.
Listen, I've got NCAA's booked. I've got.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I've got all of it booked. All right, let's start at 65 because I feel like this
is perfect.
Marinelli Berge. I'm gonna give Marinelli the edge because he obviously earns it, but I do think Berge is on the up and up. He's looking really good. Marinelli just took a loss. It's going to be interesting, but I will give the edge to Marinelli. And for an official duel,
well, pick, I mean, did you watch Sunday's meet with Michigan State and Berge?
Yes.
Okay, so that was a lot different Berge than we've seen, and I've said this from Jump Street with you, like I worry about the kid just making it through the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
listen, anytime you come back from an injury like that,
I'm just telling you, like, watch the Michigan State match and how, I mean, Bergey's a competitor, there's no doubt about it, right?
I don't think we ever saw his true potential. And I think that's what, as a Penn State fan, when I say he's on the up and up, it's like, and you know what, obviously what Marinelli's capable of, he's shown us, but I just wouldn't count Bergey out here. I think anybody was excited for his full potential, that's kind of what they're looking at.
Well, he's not there yet. Obviously, he's only.
Agreed.
He's been on campus probably like 10 days, right? So, the interesting thing is, did you know that last year's NCAAs, Bergey wrestled last year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he scored 3 points and Marinelli scored 4 points to the team. So when you look at team race,
yeah,
right? I mean, different weights last year. And I have a zinger for you at the end of the show, just kind of on the team race. But I mean, I think if this is a way that if you're Iowa, like you've got to try to get bonus points.
Well,
I'm saying it's going to happen.
I'm not just saying this for the sake of this show in the context, but didn't Penn State and Iowa wrestle head to head and Bergey beat Caleb Young last year? Let me look it up. I think he shout out WrestleStat best 2021. Yeah, so he beat Caleb Young 3-2, majored Corniglia from Navy, and lost to Delvecchia.
Yeah, that's at 57 too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean,
okay. I mean, so I'm saying Marinelli decision.
Yeah, I'll say Marinelli decision.
I mean, it's time for me. It's like maybe he'll wrestle better, not being the number one guy. Like this is like
he's gonna be like hungry. Yeah, you take a loss.
I mean, like there's no do-overs.
Yeah, no, this is it. This is it. All right, so we're both on Marinelli, although I wouldn't count Bergey out there.
Of course, you're not going to count anybody out because if you do, you're going to get cut off any contact from State College. So come on.
Next one, I got Carter again in the rematch.
Stop.
And
how can you be so certain about that?
Well, I think number one, they wrestled head to head.
Okay, they split, right? They split.
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Kemmer won Big Tens, I think, and then Carter won an NCAAs. When their last match is what I think you go off of, and Carter's looked great, and Kemmer's just getting back. What's he got, like 5 matches? So you got Carter, who's, well underway, Kemmer, who's just getting back into the swing of things. So you couple that with Carter having the last head-to-head win. How do you not pick him?
I think, yeah, Kemmer's probably just coming back. Strachey, he looked like he got like that last minute 30 against Mass on Friday. What was a strain for him?
But Carter's never a guy, or not never, but
he usually blows guys out. Like he's usually like
not really.
He won that.
Look at
how he won that match. Like Mass had him in double unders. I can't believe he didn't try to throw it by or whatever. Didn't he have a close match with somebody else earlier in the year too?
Carter has a ton of close matches.
Okay, so I'm going with Kemmer just for that fact right there.
But
it's not the NCAA tournament.
I know, but in a close match, their last match,
and maybe Gilman's in Russia and can't help him, train to beat Kemmer this time like the last time, right?
Gilman's in State College. She didn't go to Russia, so he's.
I knew that. I was being a smart ass. You missed the comment.
I must have missed it because as soon as you said Gilman in Russia,
I said, remember last year when Carter said that Gilman helped him beat Kemmer in the finals.
Gilman's the man. All right, so Aaron Brooks over Abe Assad. That's probably the easiest prediction of the whole duel.
Yeah. Probably. I've seen a lot of Penn State people think it's gonna be bonus points. He had
no, I think it's a close decision.
Mel Wecky or whatever from Michigan State. It was 0-0 going third period.
Yeah. Well, he just upset somebody too a couple of days ago or a week ago.
The Rutgers guy.
Yeah. So he's tough. If this whole duel didn't see a single match with bonus, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I really wouldn't. I don't know what the rest of your predictions look like, but I don't really think there's going to be any bonus. But I do think Brooks beats Assad, and I do think this is probably the easiest pick. This is, I'd say, as big of a separation gap between two guys. I mean, rankings wise, I think it definitely is.
Well, I mean,
maybe not. 57.
I know at 57, they got another. Maybe that's what Cenzo was talking to. Maybe another newcomer to the Penn State lineup. But if you look at the regular lineup, you'd say who they've had at 57, and Caleb Young should have been the biggest gap. But
yeah, well, Luke Gardner is wrestling 57, so
I heard that.
He's obviously not ranked.
We'll get to that. That'll be the last way. All right. So I agree. Probably Brooks by decision.
All right. I'll say Dean over Warner. I just think.
Riddle me why that.
I like Max off a loss. I don't know why. Something kind of why
you can't make a statement. You can't
listen,
make some
I just told you.
Statement. You can't make a statement like that with that would just sound like.
Listen.
So what's your data point on that? Like, give me a loss that he's came back from.
I think it's when you go to a different school, number one, I think things are different. I don't always think it's the same when you go from school to school. I didn't follow him nearly as closely when he was at Cornell as I do now, but he has looked so good, and the heavyweights that he's training with in that room are just ridiculously good. I think he's the better wrestler. There's you going through this lineup, and there's a lot of just matchups. I just think Max Dean's the better wrestler.
I thought he had I think the win against Brucky was a pretty gritty win, It was 2 takedowns to none, right? With Brucky. And then Dean ended up winning in overtime. He wrote him out.
Dean has that grit, is Brucky a returning All-American? He didn't wrestle for Ivy League either, right? So he was a big prospect. So I'm just going to give a common opponent like you talked about. Okay.
Warner beat Brucky. I think he beat Michigan State guy at Big Tens as well. I think this is a
he did. He beat Caffrey 8-3 last year.
Okay. So I think this is a true toss-up match. I mean, it depends if number one, if you can't shoot a single on Max Dean, right? You're gonna be trouble scrambling there. He's really good on top. You're gonna have to wrestle the whole match, and I think that's if you had one knock on Warner outside of the Bastida match would be that he's got a lead, in the Minnesota duel and at Ohio State last weekend, and kind of held on at the end. And if you do that against Dean, it's not going to be good.
No, I think this match.
But he is the returning 4th place finisher at the weight. Dean's moved up a weight.
I think the best thing, not the best, but one of the best things Warner has going for him is that this is in Carver Hawkeye. I think on these closer matches, every match, obviously the crowd's going to be insane. But I think a guy like Warner can definitely feed off the crowd in a match like this. And if Dean makes mistakes, Warner can try to capitalize.
We've seen this happen on both sides, though. If you've never experienced it, it's easy to get emotionally engaged into the meet just because, the hype around, you walk out there, it's nothing like anybody's ever going to see. You can hear through upstairs in the wrestling room. So, yeah, all these matches are going to have emotions in them. But, Warner's track record, Dean has a win over Brucky, okay? He's moving up from 84, didn't wrestle last year. Warner's 4th place finisher. I know he has the one loss to the Iowa State guy, but I'm going Warner.
Yeah.
That's kind of, and then listen, before you even, I'll let you do the prelude here. And then I'm just going to I'm going to come with a jackhammer straight over the top. And then you're going to be like, well, go ahead.
For heavyweight.
Go ahead.
This is probably the match maybe I'm looking forward to the most simply because I can't wait to prove you wrong here. Kirkfully, I called it that he was going to beat Mason Paris last week.
He beat him at the trials.
Yeah, but folk style freestyle, kind of a different
It was
world.
all takedowns at the trials.
Yeah, but I wasn't really looking.
I'm just listen. I'm going to use your same rationale for Carter Siraki. I'm just going to go
folk style and freestyle.
I'm going to go on their last head to head where Cassiope won 9-0.
Okay, now let me ask.
9-0.
Okay, let me ask you this now. I know Kirk very well. He's a BASCH Solutions guy. The bias is obviously there. Knowing him and knowing the story, and for maybe those listening that don't know, last year, a week before Big Tens, a week before, he didn't know if he was going to wrestle. He had a staph infection that was life-threatening, followed up by 2 blood clots, which kept him from doing any physical activity for months. A week before Big Tens, he gets cleared, comes back for the Maryland duel, and goes out there and gets a couple wins. When that happens, and I'm a big last match head-by-head or head-to-head guy. If he wrestled the whole season, I'd probably pick Kirk because I like him and I think he's incredibly talented, but I'd see the argument more. You can't omit that context. You just can't. The guy was out with a life-threatening.
I don't disagree,
infection.
but then you can't also use the same context that Kirk's the one that wrestled Gable the closest last year either. So it has to be one or the other.
That's not in
one or the other. You can't say, well, he wrestled him the closest. That was great.
No,
He's
I
the
wouldn't.
biggest threat, and the other side gets beat by Cassiope. I think that
you will not hear me reference him last year.
Kirk, for me, the difference this year's been last year when he shot and he got stuffed. Like it was probably a pretty easy.
in the chat over there, I see Cenzo, who his video's not working.
Cenzo to get in here.
He said Paris majored Greg last year also, and he said, "Fellers, do you watch wrestling or just look at scores?"
I'm talking about at freestyle. No, freestyle at the Olympic trials.
Yeah, look at. I'm not going by Kirk's results last year,
and I think Kirk's got better on bottom. Obviously,
even the ones that like go for like the what would help the cause. I'm not going by that either because I think he did wrestle some great matches last year, but I'm not saying that's why he's winning this.
The interesting thing for me in the match is this: Kirk looks bigger. Cassiope's definitely got smaller. So last year, like when Kirk shot, and that even against Colton Schultz, that was in at Nationals, watching him, like he got stuff, and maybe that was probably from his staff, and maybe not being as strong. He definitely looks a lot stronger.
He looks filled out. He looks.
Cassiope's lost however many pounds. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
what he weighs. Like that difference going to. I mean, I think it's a. I mean. The only reason I would say it's a toss-up on paper right now is because of the last head-to-head, right? If you went just like looking at the body work, okay, this versus this, I mean that you can't ignore how bad Paris never gets beat on his feet like that. So and here's the thing, Kirk held up the whole match. Now this is the others like Zinger. Kirk could be someone that could get carvered though.
I think anybody can get carvered. Anybody.
Cenzo didn't get carvered.
I think anybody can get carvered, but
I'm just saying that would be the other. I know that that, and that's a big whatever word we're going to say, like slogan, punchline from Iowa. But like you've got Kirk Fleet. He's a junior world champ too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got another 2 junior world champs going at it too, or junior world and a U23 champ. Heavyweight at the top is definitely the deepest weight.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's stacked up top with the most international.
So either way, it's going to be a decision, right? Unless Kirk Fleet bench presses Cassiope off him and pins him like the Princeton guy did.
Yeah, that match I didn't understand.
I mean, I do think Kirk his mat wrestling is definitely. And again, I don't know what the impact of his actual wrestling was, his staff, and hats off to him of even just competing. But his mat wrestling, him getting away from Paris like that quickly, Cassiope, he got rode. Most of his loss last year, he got rode.
So, what do you think the score of this match is? I'll say 8-4 Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, it could be 8-4, 6-5. I mean, it's gonna be somewhere in there.
All right, so you're saying Kirk too?
No, I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kirk.
All right, thank you.
I'm just gonna tell. I'm just maybe put a little pressure on the big tone.
Let's see. We're trying to get somebody who wants.
Where's Cenzo at? He's probably like in the grass next to a tree right now.
We're trying to get him connected here. He's
got to have it backwards on it. What's up, Cenzo?
Does he have audio?
No.
He doesn't look like.
Yeah, if you guys can hear me.
Now I can. Can you hear us?
If y'all can hear me, I can hear you.
Dude, look at this. Look at that stash, bro.
What's up, guys?
What a perfect time. So we just gave our prediction. Both took Kirk over Cass. What do you think? I saw you in the comments.
Oh yeah. So I was just listening to Dr. Felter's talk about that. And
I didn't say doctor
Cassiope's a lot smaller than he was last year. You can't expect him to dominate Greg again. That's a ridiculous approach to that. I can understand if you think it's going to be a match, because I do too, but
no, I said that's a factor.
But man,
that's definitely you can't also use can't use that he was sick then and wasn't as strong. I mean, I'm just saying
I didn't say that.
Neither did I.
Basch did.
No, I didn't.
I didn't say that.
All I said was I'm throwing out.
He wasn't sick. He wasn't sick at the time they were wrestling.
But all I'm saying is after Kirk didn't wrestle a full season last year, I'm not counting that head to head in my prediction for what's going to happen, because I think that match was more of an anomaly last year when he comes off a staph infection, gets back on the mat, and he wrestles. I'm throwing it out as a mulligan.
Let's throw even if you throw all that shit out, right, and just look at results and what Greg's done since then, you can just be he's kind of turned it up a whole nother level. And no, he's not really bigger than he was. I think he's actually smaller than he was at the national tournament right now.
No, I was saying Cass stuffed him on all Greg's shots.
He did. Yeah,
go behind. So I'm saying if he's got down 30 pounds, that was my comment about the weight. He basically stuffed the shots and it was all go behinds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's going to be a lot harder for him to do that now since he doesn't have as much mass. Yeah.
So it's not that's not a ridiculous comment now, is it?
I thought I thought it was ridiculous. I thought you were saying that he was going to dominate him again.
No, because he was lighter. No, I was saying the opposite.
Okay. All right. I got you, bro.
All right, we're good.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue to Drake and Drew.
I got Greg, by the way. But all right.
What do you think about 97?
97. It depends. Dean's good at scrambling from shots, but Warner doesn't shoot. It's gonna be a boring match unless Max turns him on top or something like that. I got Max by 3-2 or something like that. I think it's gonna be probably one takedown match, one scramble.
Fair.
Yeah.
Do you want to give the other three?
He's gonna pick Penn State on all of them. You know that. He even put a blue and white sweatshirt on for the call.
I'm wearing a black and white sweatshirt.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm wearing pink headphones and a black and white sweatshirt.
The only one wearing blue here, Felters, is you.
You don't watch wrestling and you're colorblind.
What do you mean I don't watch wrestling? Because I said he beat him at the Open.
Oh man. All right. So what other picks do I need to make?
Brooks aside.
I don't know how I feel about making picks as a college coach.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that probably.
That's what I'm saying.
All right,
I'll pick the matches that I want to, but the ones I don't want to, I'm not going to.
All right, so let's go forward. Drake versus Drew.
I'll just listen.
I think this match is going to be fantastic. Felters, we were texting yesterday about McKee having wins over both of them. I think Drew's a guy who 4th place at NCAAs. He's right there. Drake, obviously, I like Drake a lot. I'm actually going to pick Drake.
It's this is complete contrasting styles here.
Mm-hmm.
Hildebrandt is super hard to score on, defensive. He's maybe gonna get a slide by or post double and get on top and hard as hell to get out from. And so how offensive can Drake be without making mistakes and getting punished for it, right? And get himself in a hole. I mean, time will tell. I mean, you probably have to, how can't you go with Hildebrandt though? I mean, that's just looking at rationale. Like, I mean, he just went, it's not a win, but I was interested to see how they wrestled Suriano. And I thought how they wrestled him is about how you have to wrestle Suriano to beat him. Like, you got to make him come to you a little bit and maybe make it a one score match. I think Hildebrandt's pretty strong too. He's got pretty good leverage.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a multiple takedown match. I think
he hasn't got multiple takedowns, Cenzo, all year.
Not from Hildebrandt, from Ayala. Because I think Ayala is going to open it up and kind of force that action. So we're going to see, we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be a multiple takedown match just because of the Iowa guy, because he lets it rip, dude.
They'll probably start at 25. They usually do, right? Like both coaches.
Yeah. It'll start at 25.
I think it's going to be a great match. I think Drake has the edge being in Carver. I think it's going to be interesting, both of them, how they get their emotions in check too for a big duel like this. Drake at home in Carver, Drew wrestling at Carver. That's for both.
The maturity of those guys is like the maturity that some of those, like, he's a senior, right? I mean, he's wrestled last tournament. He's been under the gun a lot. I remember that match he beat Teskey last year in the quarters, I think it was. Or it was the quarters, Came back to the end. He was down like 4 or 5 points. So they've been in pressure situations. I think Carver sometimes gets overhyped, especially by us as Iowa fans, try to use it as like a mental edge, but
it's as close to rec hall as you can get, like in terms of hostile atmosphere.
Oh, that was kind of as close to. Did you hear that? It's as close to. Except the fans it's not, the average age of the fan is not 75.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, but I was watching Drake wrestle. Actually, I was watching him at Fargo this summer whenever I was out there, and whenever I kind of noticed the kid. But then I was watching him at Scuffle. Man, that boy has some good stuff, dude. He's fun to watch. He really is. It goes completely against like their Iowa style.
He's that's why even when he got beat by McKee, they give him a standing O just because.
I think I did
wrestle
too.
To the end, right?
Yeah, and I think he's gonna get him like by the end of the year.
It's hard. I said this. I think I told you this, Bash. Is like, even if you're not an Iowa fan, like, he's a kid that you can hate Iowa, whatever, but he's a kid you can't not. It's one of those kids like you cannot like.
Yeah, I like watching him wrestle.
Yeah,
you know where I am. So
his likability is through the roof. I don't know that many people can root against him.
And then the Spencer, it's and I've said this, Spencer's obviously been the face of Iowa for sure, and one of the biggest in college wrestling for a period of time. Spencer had surgery on Friday. Drake wrestles McKee. Sunday beats Schroeder, and the next week it's all like, it's kind of like crazy how the world is kind of like on the next thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's been pretty prepared. Like, I would say the thing to his advantage, as young as he is he's never not wrestled at any tournaments. Like, he wrestled everywhere. So
right.
Like going and competing, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match. Next, we have Rby De Santo. I don't know how anybody can pick De Santo over Rby at this point. I saw Wrestle Stats, whatever model it was that picked him. I mean, I think Rby
the holy grail of college wrestling.
I think like 3 straight wins for Roman over De Santo. Returning national champ hasn't lost.
Do you remember the last time Roman and De Santo wrestled in Carver?
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
I remember the last time they wrestled. I remember the last time they wrestled at Big Tens though too. Like here, if I was gonna say, okay, how does De Santo have a chance or whatever, is, in the Big Tens, Roman got to take down the first 30 seconds, right? Or right away. And then, game, like, you better be ready not to score right away, and you can't shoot. So you got to try to play the game like Ragusan, not saying, Roman was frustrated, but slowed him down a little bit on 2-on-1. But
I mean, you can shoot on Roman.
listen,
You just got to pick the shots.
Watching you guys come out of the tunnel, though, Cenzo, you and him, like, it was in your eyes. Like, you guys ate that environment up. Like, exciting. It wasn't like intimidating. And
it's awesome.
showman, like, don't think he's not excited to go into that place. Like, this is, he's not intimidated. Like, it's not real.
Yeah, no, it's like there's just like a few different ways to look at it. Like, for sure, with the crowd like that, you can either try to tune it out or you just like eat that shit up and own it. And I think it's more fun to kind of just own it and rock it. You know, like after my last match there, like, I'm trying to give fans like high fives and stuff, and you know, like, obviously they're not down. They're not down with that. Yeah, it was a sick match. Like, the whole event was awesome. Would have been cooler if we would have won. But like, you know, it's just like, anytime you go into an environment like that, you got to cherish it. And I think a guy like Roman does a really good job with that. Kind of just gets behind like the crowd, even though it's not for him, and it just kind of helps you rally.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously we've seen De Santo even against guys that haven't been high caliber, like, you know, getting stuck with the head stuck with them. I mean, that's you're playing with super high danger there. Like, how's De Santo goes? I mean, I'd say you have to hand fight, keep your hands on him, and maybe try to get a stall call. Like, you're gonna have to game it like that. But to think he's gonna get multiple takedowns against him, it's not delusional. I guess you could say delusional. It's very, very low risk or low probability.
I think the best, you know, plan of attack for that dude, and like, this is just me thinking right now, is like, you want to, honestly, in that match, you're taking 1 or 2 shots. Like, the entire time, you might take a couple half shots to like make them think that you're shooting, but you're taking 1 or 2 real attacks that entire match, and then you're hand fighting. You can't
for 7 minutes. Space.
No, you can't. You can't operate in space. You got to get on his head. You got to get on him, and you shoot. You
start chasing him and lunging. You're gonna.
He's snapping you and running around. Like, that's pretty much it.
It's
you gotta be real selective. Interesting. Yeah. It's hard to do, man. It's a tough out.
Felters, what's your official pick for that weight?
I mean, how can't you pick RBY?
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be. I mean, I hope it's not by, you know, injury default again, but
no one wants to see that.
No, but I think you have to be very smart. Like, gamey, like, do you evolve? Do you close the gap? Do you give yourself a chance to win the match at the end? Right, like, and he's going to have to score a takedown. You're not going to win on a stall call against RBY. It's just not going to happen. And because even as tired as everybody thought he was at Big Tens, when it came down to it, when he spiked him 2 mats over, if Iowa guy was doing that, they'd want to, you know, put him in jail and shit. That was De Santo, he'd be in jail right now. But RBY still had that. Yeah, it's true. RBY still had that. Like, he wasn't just going to like let it go at the end. He wasn't that exhausted. He's a lot more mature than he was when they wrestled the first year. Period.
It's night and day, dude.
Yeah, I agree with that big time. All right, next we have Lee Ireman. I mean, Nick Lee here.
Is Nick gonna wrestle or not?
Nick's wrestling.
Joke.
Nick's wrestling. Nick's wrestling. I pick him over Ireman again.
I mean, look at the track record of both of them this year. One guy's been smashing everybody, and the other one's been having 1-point matches.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of a trap match, though, too. I'm gonna tell you.
That scares me. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That scares me. Ironman's going to be game. He's not going to wrestle him like he wrestled Justin Simon. He's going to be game. He's going to be ready to go.
And the thing that I was like, he does some things that are obviously very unorthodox. He makes Nick, like, in the national finals, he didn't fall trap to like getting frustrated. But Ironman also shot 5 or 6 times in the first period at the national finals, and which he doesn't usually do, right? So it's gonna be. He didn't
just shoot either. He shot from 5 feet away with his head down every time.
Yeah,
that's gonna get you really tired.
Yeah, and try to get on top, but it's gonna be interesting to see, because even in some of the matches, this doesn't seem that Ironman's held up as well as even last year, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, you know, like,
but this could be a trap match.
I'm trying to think of it like if I was still in college wrestling, right? Like, my body's like hurt, man. Like that's a lot of time to be in season. You know, whenever you get to freestyle, it's a lot different. You train because you cycle your training instead of just grind for a whole season. Like that got to take a toll on your body. He's been doing it.
And when you're on bottom, you got to get out. They don't blow the whistle and say, "Okay, back up." You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, unless we're in practice, then you know, I just lay there till they let me up.
Yeah, right.
I don't. Yeah, no, wrestling on bottom sucks. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. I don't think Nick's going to smash him. I mean, as much as you know, I'm not going to say that. But I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, but Ireman, Nick just has to be disciplined. If you can slip up one little bit and put your head inside and get cradled again.
Yeah,
I mean, I think when you have an NCAA finals rematch that went in a sudden victory, it's going to be a great match.
Well, you were so certain that Cameron was going to get beat, so you can't say that.
I said it's
you
were
like Siraki. No, next subject's what you said basically.
No, I said how can you pick against him when he won their last match?
Okay,
and Kemmer's just rolling back into the things.
I can 100% see picking Kemmer. To be honest with you, I mean,
he's the most underrated wrestler. Technically, like that guy, he is.
Yeah, I grew up.
I know you know him, bro. Like, but his finish rate,
he's awesome.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, his leg attacks and finishes are very, very, very good, and he's always been like that. I'm not making any picks in these matches or anything. But I'm just gonna.
Lee, but sorry.
I'm just gonna talk. I didn't pick Nick Lee.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh.
All right.
I said it's gonna be a brawl.
So what are we at? What are we at for matches? Because 49. Like this is one that, unfortunately, like it's going to be a 1-score match at the end. That's just how every match goes with Mirren.
Yeah, definitely not Bartlett. He doesn't do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think if he beat Sammy last weekend for Mirren's been like, I think like mentally gets over the hump, like opens up maybe a little bit more, wrestles. Obviously, I mean, you can't say
he beats.
He got beat like the last 10 seconds.
I didn't watch
beat
it.
At the end. He lost 2-3
against Sasso.
I'm all Pac-12 now, boys.
Yeah, you're on a different schedule and everything.
So I mean, I think Mirren's definitely the favorite. It just he hasn't. I'd say that this would be great to try to get bonus points or whatever, but he doesn't bonus point anybody, and Bartlett wrestles everybody pretty close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a one takedown match for sure.
Yeah, I hope it's more of an exciting match than it seems like it's going to be on paper.
Well, that's going to be the thing. Like, as big as environment's going to be is, you know, how tight do some guys wrestle and how much, like you said, Cenzo, how much other guys embrace it and just open up. Like your favorite Carver, like your favorite moment at Carver Bash.
There's nothing better than the whole Carver Hawkeye Arena yelling 2 and then Brooks gets pinned.
That was just tape delay when you're watching it from home.
My favorite part of that video too is like you even see Iowa fans like put their hands in the air and stuff after they call the pin. They're like, oh shit, no.
That was bad.
Yeah.
That was me at the Bills games or watching the Bills game Sunday night, like running in circles when Allen gets the touchdown, and then just utter devastation. So
that match though, whenever Bo pinned Sammy Brooks, that was an interesting Carver experience right there. I said that was just an interesting Carver experience, that whole dual meet. I got tired in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was
interesting. It was interesting.
Was it you bleed? It was Marinelli was bleeding like a stuck pig, right?
That was a couple years later. Yeah.
What match did you say you get tired in 30 seconds?
Oh, I wrestled Joey Gunther my first time at Carver whenever I was a freshman.
Joey Gunther has more overtime matches than anybody ever in NCAA wrestling. He went to Illinois then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He went to Illinois.
He's awkward to wrestle.
He was I don't like I'm not trying to call anyone out or anything like that, but Iowa guys are super slippery. I don't know what.
Oh, come on, man.
No, I seriously, I think it's just been the luck of the draw for me. I'm not making any accusations.
Marinelli doesn't have any hair.
Yeah, I think the guys I've just wrestled, they just sweat a lot. Like that just happens to be it, because there's no way they're like lubing up or anything like that. But no, I think that just happens. They just happen to be sweaty dudes. So
That was your
bad
first
for
time at
Griffith.
Carver, Joey Gunther?
Joey Gunther. I won like 7-3. I was exhausted. He's strong. He's strong, and like I was just like trying to finish my shots like a dumbass and just like trying to like run through him with my head down. You know, the old freshman like get strong
up,
and
dude. You were amped up.
Something like that, I guess. I don't know.
That's the same meet that Bo pinned him, right? Yeah.
That was the Bo Brooks match.
The place was like you could have heard a mouse shit in that place.
I was yelling pretty loud. I was pretty happy.
Yeah.
All right. Last match, Caleb Young. Luke's wrestling in 57. Corby's already like kind of spoiled it, so I'm not spoiling anything here.
I wouldn't know for sure if he's gonna wrestle or not. Like it'll be him, Terrell, or Tony probably.
Yeah, and they
one of those three guys.
It could
or
be
even Chili.
It could be a last minute decision. So
it will be.
If Luke's wrestling, I'm 100% taking him over Caleb. 100%. I'm not even gonna hear an opposing argument.
What do you mean? Well, yeah, of course you're not gonna hear a post from Cenzo.
Well,
I got nothing. Man.
So I got it 5-5 in my picks.
Penn State 5 matches, Iowa 5 matches.
That's what I had.
I got 7-3 or 8-2 Penn State. I got
7-2. Listen to me. 8-2.
I got 7-3 if I concede Drew to Drake.
I got 10-0 Stanford.
8-2.
I have Marinelli, Murrin, and Drake winning. I think Drew could win. If Drew flips that one, it's 8-2. I have 7-3 conservatively.
You say Murrin?
Max Mullen.
No.
That's my boy, dude.
No.
I told him, I said, you can't, every time you win, you can't go upstairs and shower and put the chain on and the hat on backwards. He's great. He's funny.
PA Pride, baby. PA Pride.
Yeah.
Young Guns.
So okay, that's a duel. You got 8-2. I don't have it that way, but you know,
7-3 or 8-2.
7-3. So for sure, like 100%. We said Brooks was probably the most solid pick on all the matches, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what's your second for sure?
RBY over De Santo.
Oh, that's a pretty. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roman's a guy who just like no matter.
Okay, I can concede those two.
Okay.
Then we had the other three. We had the other three that were last meeting was Kirk got beat, Srirachi and or Siraki, however you say it, and Kemmer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Kirk and Cassiope is going to be.
It was 9-0 last time.
He just got back out of not doing anything physical for 2 months.
Yeah, that'll be my one match prediction. I got Greg by 5.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. If you're saying 9-0 after he was out for 2 months, I mean, it's just like he did nothing for 2 months.
Just look at it this way: the way he won the match, he just doesn't have that skill set anymore. Cassiope.
That's fair. Like
I think it's gonna be a combination of things.
He's gonna get on bottom and not give up go behinds.
Probably, yeah.
I guess looking at last weekend, you can say that one match, right?
Because him with Paris was the same way last year. It was go behind and couldn't get on bottom.
And Schultz.
I think Schultz is a tough out. I think Schultz is a tough match right now. Heavyweight's freaking good.
Yeah, of course you are. Because now you're plugging for RPI for freaking Big Black 12.
I just think Schultz is
See
good.
how you work, man.
It's because this guy Eric Thompson's out there in Arizona.
That's exactly
getting Schultz ready.
But hey, I wrote down my scores. Who I have 7-3 also.
Yeah, I think 7-3.
I'm not telling you which ones, but I have 7-3. Maybe 6-4. 7-3, 6-4.
So let's go with like these tournament projections. So last year was 129 to like what was it? Final score?
Actually, wait, no. I'm 6-4. My bad. Not 7-3. 6-4.
I'm 7-3.
And I was 5-5.
This all makes sense.
For a biased Iowa fan, 5-5.
It's not biased though.
I'm saying,
he said before you started, he's not unbiased with the picks. You got to trust him.
I said for an Iowa guy, 5-5 is a fair. That's calling it down the middle, literally. 5-5.
Well, I mean, you can see Cameron winning, so that puts your picks 5-5, right, Cenzo? Oh, Cenzo, quit recording like the FBI.
I keep freezing. So, like, whenever I freeze, I just kind of sit here and wait, see what happens. Because we got that Walmart Wi-Fi.
Yeah, 7-3 is what I got. Cenzo's got 7-3, maybe 6-4, and Felter says 5-5.
So I want to talk about the I want to talk about the tournament though from last year real quick. So what was his final score? It was 129 to what?
The dual turn or the
NCAA tournament.
I don't remember.
Hold on, I'm gonna tell you 1 second. It was 113.5 to 129. Okay, and Penn State had how many champs?
Was it 4? Yeah.
4, right? Okay. And so last year, Murin scored 2 points. Caleb Young scored 8. Marinelli scored 4. And Nelson Brand scored 1. So add those up. What is that? 2, 4, 11 points. Okay. And then you got the Spencer effect.
Yep.
Right. Do you think Marinelli's going to score more than 2 points this year? Like, here's what I don't understand about these projections and things. Like, how does Max Dean just go to second? So everybody just puts him in the like. Okay, he has a win against Patrick Bruckey. Okay, and then loses to Gath and goes second in the coaches poll. I don't get that.
Wasn't he? He didn't wrestle last year, right?
Bergey's wrestled 3 matches. And I know whatever circumstance come back. His significant wins over, I guess, Cam Amin, and he went to like 9th or 10th. There's just some things that are ludicrous to me.
Listen, to be fair, the rankings don't make any sense to me on many of the weights because I feel like it's so emotional on where you put someone.
Yeah, Willie's getting ready to go to Oklahoma State. You can see that in his crystal ball rankings. Like
I haven't looked at them yet, but I did
from
see
Nebraska, and you take 2 shitty losses, you actually go up in rankings versus down. Just how it goes.
Yeah, the rankings
I just think it's going to be
so
like
subjective.
Listen, obviously Iowa's taking a big hit with, anytime you take the top point scorer out of the equation, how many points you scored last year? 28.
Yeah, but I still think like if Spencer Lee's going to go down, to have Drake as the guy who's going to step in, you can't really ask for much more. Like if
24.5 points. So what I'm saying is Iowa won by 16 points. Okay. So you take Spencer's 24, but I'm saying those other 5 weights only scored 9 points. Like I get the head-to-heads, but I think a lot of people are, it's in the bag for Penn State. Like Penn State's
think
also
it's in the bag.
Hey, Penn State's also one of their star injuries away from being out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think both Iowa and Penn State
they had 4 champs last year, and they still lost by 16. 4 champs.
Well, Bo Bartlett should have got it.
No, they had 4 champs.
No, I know, but
so those can't go up anymore, right? Those 4 guys.
Well, they get bonus points. They can.
Okay, but I mean, from a max to maybe 2 or 3 points.
Nobody really bonused last year in NCAAs. That was a huge thing. Huge. Like Penn State did not get many bonus points last year. I mean, that's a big factor in that.
And I was keep. And they almost got one taken away from them at 33, but they got a gift at 84 too. Just saying, in the finals match.
A gift, yeah.
Just saying,
it's called a great wrestler.
Oh, you mean grabbing the carpet? That's not. It doesn't count.
I don't recall.
He went on a stall call. I
don't recall.
I looked that guy up. He used to be on the board of trustees for the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club back in 1993. He didn't really. So it's going to be a great environment. I don't care if you're a Penn State home or not. You got to be jacked up for the Brands documentary.
I'm very excited. It's on Big Ten Network. So the duel's on Big Ten Network at 9, and then that is going to be on. I think it's going to be awesome. I love the teasers, like when they're back in their high school.
I love to see the outtakes of the conversations. Like Here's the thing that is like, I seen one today that was posted a couple of days ago talking about Tom Terry's career. They want to be the best ever in the world. And, when it comes to collegiate wrestling, we were 5 for 8 national titles. And, that's just not good enough. And like, holy shit. You know what I mean? They said some raw stuff in there. John Smith, of course.
Is it 30 or 60 minutes?
I don't know. But I don't know how they're going to cram it all in there. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be people clinging on a lot of things. Like I thought Kale's blog that he posted this week in the subject on ROKFIN is a little bit fit. Kale's very calculated when he lets things go as well.
Very calculated.
So
I didn't read that. Did he put up
brands special about the ballpark? Let's just if we can agree on one thing, you and I, okay? The one thing that drives traffic and views and people in the seats is Iowa college wrestling. Can we agree on that? Thank you.
That is the one thing that
you and I can agree on. You and I can agree on
that. I don't know. We were agreeing on the Kale thing on what he's done. So
no, I'm saying, but Iowa
does know how to
the brand of wrestling in Iowa, regardless.
Well, that's why they just got 2 World Cups, right? I mean, they just got awarded 2 World Cup hosts.
Yeah, but when it was at Penn State, what
was that Penn State?
Did they have the
no.
What did they call it? Final X out there?
They did have Final X out there. That wasn't a good showing. I'm not a fan of the whole Final X system.
What I'm saying is good or bad. And listen, Iowa fans, as great as they are sometimes, is we've seen that happen. Once you're not on that squad anymore, is the other way is it creates an environment. Even for the kids that aren't from Iowa, those kids from Penn State or Oklahoma State go to the ballpark, whatever, they get to experience something like, I didn't know this, that actually every seat, it's sold out from season tickets. You can't buy a ticket unless you have season tickets.
At the ballpark?
No, at Iowa. So the entire capacity of the arena at Carver Hawkeye is sold out with season tickets.
And that's how Penn State is too.
Yeah, but they got like 6,000, right?
I can't remember if I know Rec
and
Hall's,
that's only if they got the that's only if they have the
stupid
that's only if they have that senior citizen Greyhound bus shuttling back and forth.
That's cold-blooded. But listen, Iowa does know how to show up for a wrestling event. That I will 100% give you.
It's a great environment no matter what side you are to experience. Maybe I hope I know you have stuff going on this week, but hopefully you can get out.
I would have absolutely loved to be at this duel this week. I would have loved to.
Are you going to nationals or not?
Yeah, it's all booked. God willing, if everything's okay, my son's born healthy, everything's fine, I'll be there.
Yeah, that's what's most important. Yeah. I don't know. Like, you can say that, but you're like, I've told you this a lot. You're not gonna, your whole life's gonna, like, until you have it happen.
Yeah, I'm not leaving until then. Like, I have no travel booked for the entire month of February. So that'll probably be the first time like I leave town. And that could be a last minute cancellation.
Well, listen,
but as of now, it's all booked.
Make sure that you I know it's hard sometimes. This is me soapboxing. Make sure when it all happens, goes down, you disconnect for a while. And I'll take care of the Baschamania. I'll take care of the Baschamania social media stuff,
All of a sudden it's gonna be black and yellow.
No, it wouldn't do that to you.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I got. You got
what else? Hey, there's nothing else from college wrestling coming up. What's your thoughts on Siriano?
I'm over the whole saga.
No, not the saga. I just mean the wrestling.
Yeah, but that's part of it, right? This whole saga is drawn out for so long. The mystery, the mystique of it all. And then it's kind of like he's not that exciting to watch. So once you take out your school potentially getting him or the interest of it, he's not exciting to watch so far this season. I mean, he's only been a couple matches, but like that match with Drew was boring. So if you don't care where he ended up because he ended up in Michigan, okay, great. It's not that exciting to watch. It's not like there's guys like Drake that Drake's a kid who, I go in flow zone. I send a notification. I gotta watch when he wrestles. He's fun. Scuffle was awesome.
I'm the same with like Keegan O'Toole.
Keegan O'Toole's another one.
As a fan, you want to watch. It makes you appreciate and love the sport. Like,
correct.
Just wait until the end and like, okay, you got one take. That's.
And I don't see that with Soriano right now. I don't see like that excitement. Like, oh, let me enable a notification for when he wrestles.
Yeah, don't be wasting those text messages. You got kids coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck to you and your wife.
Yeah, due date Saturday. So
what do you mean they think Saturday? Just because she's due on Saturday, or are they going to do?
No, the due date Saturday. So
okay. Listen, your first baby. Listen,
it's not going to come.
It could be 3 more weeks.
I know. We got an appointment Friday to talk to the doctor about.
All right. Well,
what the plan is.
Hope everything goes well.
Thank you.
Hey, listen. I hope everything goes well on that front. I don't want to see. Listen, it's supposed to be really. Here's one thing I'm worried about on Friday. It's supposed to be really cold in Iowa City on Friday, so it's probably going to be really bad, slippery driving conditions when all the Penn State tiers coming out of Carver with the cold conditions. Be really icy driving.
I knew it was going somewhere. Listen,
thank you so much.
The beautiful thing is, if Penn State loses, I sincerely do not care, because having a son born triumphs everything. But if Penn State wins, it's an added thrill.
I guess. I mean, you guys are ranked number 1. You're supposed to win, right?
Yeah, but I feel like
how many? Hey, let me ask this quick. I didn't want to ask Cenzo this because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But how many other janitors, how many more guys does Kill have hidden in the janitor closet to maybe pull off for eligibility?
Did you listen to the Drew Hildebrand episode?
I know he wanted to come. Like, come on, listen. That's called media training 101, and it's good.
That ain't media training. Like, there's a lot of media training.
Hey, listen, the thing I can appreciate about Kale, he wants to win so effing bad that he's going to turn over every rock and possibility till the end.
I don't disagree with you, but I think his competitiveness puts that into people's heads more than it maybe is.
Stop.
I think people think even more of Cal from a competitive standpoint. They think because he's so competitive, he'll do so much more than he will.
I didn't say push the envelope or do anything illegal. I just mean,
no, I know, but I'm saying, like,
options wise, he knew all of his options. Like maybe Facundo isn't where he thought they're going to be to maybe like put him in the lineup after the break. So that was the Berge conversation that happened. You know, I can appreciate that he's not going to just concede anything. He's going to try to get as many chips on the table as he can.
Yeah. I mean, he's a loyalist, so he's loyal to Penn State right now. He wants to be the absolute best coach he can be. So trying to put the best team out there and win championships.
He hates to lose, though, too. He likes to win, but he hates to lose.
100%. But I think he is somebody who, I think sometimes people just kind of coast through different things, and I just don't think he's that guy. There's an opportunity to make the team a little better. I think he wants it every single day.
What do you mean thinks he's that guy? I don't think listen, as much NCAA violations and overall probation and things that, no, I'm not being funny on this, that they've dealt with as an athletics program, like his hands are tied. Like, it's not like they're going to sneak anything through the NCAA. Like, they're under a microscope everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure there's everybody, shout out to Tom Ryan, crying, that turn him in.
Did you want to say crying Tom Ryan? Because he just said Tom Ryan and then crying, and then he took him back.
Crying Ryan.
All right. On that note, I got to go get this thing
walk
live.
the dog. Make sure you don't kill any more fish before spring either, right?
I've got 2 aerator plates in there. We got oxygen. Everything's looking
just
good.
Leave the fish alone. The more you mess with that pond.
No, everything's fine right now. The pond's frozen over except for the 2 spots where the bubblers are.
All right.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.